legends of this game. 7 World Championship titles between them. 30 Pro Tour titles between
Adrian
them.
to throw for the bullseye first.
It might be considered a bit of a surprise final, certainly in the case of Raymond van Barneveld, because 25. There has been a lot of worry that Barney's final year in the PDC was just going to
bullseye, so Raymond's won the ball
into a disappointing nothing. And yet today we've seen little signs of the old Barney. Can he go and claim his first title for 5 years and rejuvenate his final year in professional darts?
137.
The sport he put on the map in the Netherlands. I'm Dan Dawson, Chris Murphy alongside me as Barney takes on 2-time world champ Jackpot as A.D. Lewis looks to win his first title in 2 years.
83.
Yeah, certainly is going to be some story, whatever happens in this final. Certainly would not have expected Raymond van Barneveld to turn it on
57.
in Wigan at a Pro Tour event. The event that he's kind of been dodging for the end of his career, not just the final year, but the years leading up to it, partly why he's been left in the perilous position of being outside the world's top 32 and threatening to miss out on some of the big majors in his final season. But winning this match could be the beginning of all that starting to change.
140.
I don't think there's anybody in this sport, maybe nobody in any sport on the planet right now,
140.
to whom belief and confidence is so important. Barney admits it himself. The last time he won anything was the Premier League back in 2014. And all that seemed to stem
80.
from he went to a betting office headquarters and saw a sign saying believe, and he thought that, oh, that's a sign, and then won it.
Lewis looking at double 12.
Game shot.
To pick Barney's pockets in the first leg. The 138 checkouts. Well, if it carries on like this, let's extend it. Let's make it best of 15 sets, never mind legs.
Well, I tell you what, Adrian Lewis, he was sort of
140.
trundling along today. It wasn't his high-end stuff at all until his semi-final performance against the Ferret Johnny Clayton, when he was magnificent. 110 average from Jackpot.
140.
And he started in a similar manner here, and it means that Barney may have to produce the best display we've seen from him in potentially
96.
years to stop Aid.
Well, why are we surprised? Because it's not the first time. Think of that Premier League title. Think of the Grand Slam title back in 2012 when Barney hadn't won anything on the telly for 5 years. And he does have this knack
55.
of picking himself up off the canvas somehow and finding that belief from some little sign, wherever it may be. I don't know what it was this weekend.
58.
But as you said, if you look at his performances throughout the day, averaging in the low 90s for his first 3 matches, and suddenly a sniff of victory, a sniff of changing fortunes in his final season. Raymond van Barneveld upped his game. Yes, the semi-final against Keegan Brown was a little bit more tense, a little bit more dramatic, but he produced some big shots in big moments in that one.
137.
And he might be on the cusp of a moment that at the end of his long career might not seem to be such a big deal, but it could end up being the catalyst for that fairy tale finish that he's
58.
after.
Well, there's a chance, but there is also a little nagging voice as AD looks at double 16.
38.
Knows he will come back. There may be a little nagging voice in Barney's head saying, well, if you don't win this final, Ray, it's only £6,000 ranking money. That may be nowhere near enough to get you into those tournaments. It may not be enough. I have to win it. And if I don't, then maybe it is going to peter out this
Game
final
shot.
year. Because he finds himself 2-0 down now.
Does have a superior record against Lewis. They've met more than 60
180.
times. Does Barney find 360s in his first throw?
121.
Looked like we're going to get a response in kind from Jackpot, but not to be.
Lewis over the years has had the knack of finding the 9 against Raymond as well, hasn't he?
60.
Remember one at the Worlds, one at the European Championship as well.
Did one of his Premier League ones come against Barney? I can't recall.
100. 94.
One thing's for sure, somebody ends their title drought.
100.
Today. And somebody brings to an end a very disappointing run of defeats in finals, because Adrian has lost his last 5 and Barney's lost his last 6.
57.
Well, the 57 might have just opened a door here for Adrian Lewis. And all of a sudden...
81.
Well, he hasn't walked through the door because he's on a 3-dart out as well. So Barney slightly let off. He didn't need to be let off because 110 check out and the finger point from Raymond van Barneveld. Crowd pleaser. Or camera pleaser at least.
100.
Yeah, did contest a couple of finals last year, didn't he, Raymond, on the World Series and at the Masters, losing both to Michael van Gerwen. But it would be his first. This is his first ranking final since 2015. A match that he lost to Jelle Klaassen. And if he does go on to win it, it'll be his first ranking title since 2013.
Yeah, it's been a long wait. But of course, it does make it more difficult to win ranking titles if you don't actually compete in ranking events.
125.
Obviously been a criticism of Barney over the last few years. Indeed, it was a criticism of Adi when he had a poor World Championship.
100.
He dropped out of the world's top 20. But what you've seen from Adrian over the last 18 months or so, well, certainly 15 months, is this real commitment to playing Pro Tour stuff. And it's bearing fruit.
100.
He's still waiting for a title, but 4 finals last year, his first final of the year here today.
Yeah, he seemed all the way through last year like Adrian Lewis was on the verge of
91.
winning something again. It never quite happened. The very last tournament of the Players' Championship Series, he lost to Krzysztof Ratajski, who actually completed a double that weekend.
58.
Another one in there. Bullseye.
140.
Well, we've just witnessed Barney clean up 110. 118 is a very similar kind of outshot. It's a good guide, that, for him, isn't it? Down to the bottom of the board, and Barney's at it. Barney's in it, that's for sure.
Well, this is what we wanted to see. 2 legends of the game going toe to toe.
Well, I'll tell you what, we've only had 4 legs. We've had 3 ton-plus checkouts already in this match. Lewis taking out the Della in leg 1.
100.
By the same route. And then Barney going back-to-back with checkouts of 110 and 118.
140. 60. 58.
They have met countless times in the Premier League and World Championship and all these enormous tournaments. But the one
100
that really stands out in my mind is the most recent time they met in a final. And it was in a World Series event down in Auckland in New Zealand, where it went all the way to a last leg decider and they're both
94.
stuck in the madhouse. It was a really high quality game all the way through until the very last leg when they just couldn't finish it. And I can't remember how many darts Barney got for the title, but it was a few.
83.
Well, for a 3rd consecutive leg.
Game shot.
And Barney gets it. He's turned it around and leads 3-2. He has had a more taxing afternoon than Adrian Lewis. Lewis has made rather serene progress to the decider.
60.
The closest anyone has come to Adrian Lewis this afternoon was Glenn Durrant in match 3, and he only took 3 legs off Adrian in that one. Started with a 6-0 win against Mark Dudbridge, beat Mark Webster 6-1.
100.
After the Durrant match, a succession of 8-leg ties, 6-2 against Luke Woodhouse and Vincent van der Voort, and 7-1 against Johnny Clayton in the semi-final.
96.
Yeah, but let me paint you a rather fanciful picture, Murph. Raymond van Barneveld goes on and wins today, and it helps him qualify, along with making
100.
a couple of Euro tours, which he's done already. Helps him qualify for something like, I don't know, the Match Play or the World Grand Prix. And Barney goes and wins it.
134.
We'll look back on today in his second round game with Zoran Lurchbacher, where he trailed 5-4, and Zoran is sat on 85 after 9 darts, waited to check out. Barney's
59.
nowhere, he's back in the 300s. Zoran then gets stuck and misses match dart after match dart after match dart. He has 12 for the match, can't
100.
take it. 6 for the match, can't take it. 3 for the match, can't take it. He's stuck in the madhouse, and Barney sneaks the leg. Wins the match 6-5, and then all of this happened.
58.
Lewis has time on his side here. We'll return to that point in a moment, but Adrian will return to it now because Adrian's not going to clean it up now. Yeah, it's an incredible story, but it is almost like it's written in the stars,
51.
isn't it? Because Raymond van Barneveld, who models himself on the Rocky movies and has had this bounce back ability in his career, it wouldn't be the
100.
Barney story if he just had a fantastic final year of procession where he just hoovered up titles left, right and centre. Like he's been fading without a trace, and then all of a sudden here he is, threatening to come back from the brink of perhaps an even earlier retirement than he had anticipated when he announced it around November last year. Bull here.
59.
That would have been for a 4th leg on the spin. Lewis under pressure. And that's a little awkward, but not too
Game
awkward
shot.
for Jackpot, who does pin double 10. We have a level game once more. Both, there's only 1 point difference in the averages here, both mid-90s, but it's tense. No question, this means an awful lot to Raymond van Barneveld. It could
60.
be his hopes for the entire year, his fairy tale farewell. He wants what Phil Taylor had. Make no mistake about that. He wants to ride off into the sunset with a big
140.
title like Taylor did, making the world final, winning the world match play in his final year. But this means a lot to Adrian as well. He will not be
60.
satisfied with just turning up and making a final. He believes he should be right up there in the top 4 or 5 in the world, winning things on a regular basis.
125.
Nobody's under any illusions as to the importance of these tournaments. It's not the World Championship. It's not a big TV major event, but we are witnessing already this year some
125.
very, very interesting stories of players winning meaningful titles on the floor and away from the big crowds and the big lights of those majors.
180.
Because you have to start somewhere, and in the case of this pair, you have to restart somewhere.
Yeah, and how many times do we see it? Something
60.
happens, something clicks for you in these floor events, and then you go on to greater things. Johnny Clayton, who we saw in the semis, won one of these and then made a major final.
Game shot.
Adrian Lewis now goes 4-3 up in this one.
Yeah, and that will break a throw, so Lewis now back in control.
You only have to look at Nathan Aspinall, who got his tour card back at the start of last year, won one of these in the very
96.
final weekend, and then went on to make the World Championship semi-finals and is now the UK Open champion. He's won £250,000 pretty much in the last 3 months, Nathan Aspinall.
140.
Prior to the World Championship, he had 70 quid in his bank account.
$134. 96.
Barney has endured a torrid
93.
start to the season until today's win against Sean Carroll yesterday in his first round brought to an end a run of 6 consecutive defeats, including 2 important ones in the Premier League, which have left him languishing in the
133.
relegation zone, the only man in it, of course, this year, and one against Simon Stevenson at the UK Open.
138.
Well, to break back, to prevent Adrian Lewis getting a 2-leg start.
Yeah,
now,
50 scored.
can he force another one in there? Does he look at the treble 14? He's not even sure at the minute.
If in doubt, treble 14, in my opinion. Barney concurred,
74.
but couldn't find the target. Can Lewis find his?
Game shot.
Yes, he can, and he's opened up a 2-leg cushion for the second time in the match.
Well, even when Barney won
140.
the world title, beating Taylor in the final, arguably the greatest game this sport has ever seen, even then he did it the hard way. He's going to have to do
93.
it the hard way here. 2-0 down, battled back. 5-3 down, has to battle back. It's just exciting seeing Barney playing with this
98.
focus and positivity.
A bit of fight as well from Raymond van Barneveld. Certainly the last shot to win the match against Keegan Brown.
39.
And at other times in that match, he was giving it some. He wants this. And I made the point about those,
137.
that run of results, the 3 Premier League defeats, the defeat at the UK Open, the failure to progress at these Players' Championship tournaments. There were rumours going around that Raymond van Barneveld had adopted the camouflage shirt because he just wanted to hide and disappear. Can he make this 1-2-6 disappear? Doesn't have to go for the bull, even if he had found the treble 19
98.
there. Well, that's kind of what he did by announcing his retirement. There is no hiding place after that.
40.
Taylor dealt with the pressure, didn't he, himself, reaching the match play final, winning it, reaching the world final. Questions were asked, can Barney shoulder the burden?
14.
He couldn't find the double 14. This could be a fatal blow. Adrian Lewis.
Game shot.
Fantastic checkout from Jackpot. 149, treble 19, treble 20, double 16. Is that a fatal blow to Barney's hopes today?
Well, what I hope, Dan, and what I assume everybody hopes in the world of
140.
darts is that Raymond van Barneveld does not allow, if he does end up losing this final, all the confidence that he's built up throughout the course of today to drain away from him just by
140.
being beaten to a rampant Adrian Lewis in the decider. Because Lewis is averaging over 101. And something that's always been said about Adrian Lewis is he's got gears and he's
137.
starting to go through them in this final.
Well, he certainly produced him in the semi-final. It was incredible against Johnny Clayton. It was like watching Adrian Lewis back when he won the UK Open title and
140.
demolished Terry Jenkins in a final with monster average. There have been signs that AD is battling
60.
his way back to being the force that he was. If today is another big step towards that, that is great for darts. If this is a sign that Barney has got some fight left in him in his final year, that is a great
65.
sign for darts. But only one of them can walk away with the title, and Barney's left his trademark 156 checkout. But will he get a go at it? Because Jackpot wants the ball. Oh, and very nearly
139.
back-to-back. Huge checkouts.
Over to you, Raymond. But he's not going to join the party with his party piece. So Lewis
60.
will have 2 darts, barring a disaster with the first, to move 1 away
Game
from
shot.
today's title.
Well, I just wonder that the last time I mentioned it when Barney was in the quarterfinals and he saw off Jan Dekker, The last time we saw him in a semi-final of a Pro Tour event was 2.5 years ago. And he'd gone there on this mission, so the Glassplastin
60.
Sindelfingen, to try and make
Be his 25th title in the PDC.
180.
And he has done it in style in the semis and the final. It really has been a vintage jackpot
137.
for the last hour or so. And even Barney couldn't stop him, it appears.
Adrian Lewis was 3-2 behind in this match, and now he wants the ball.
46.
Having reeled off 5 consecutive legs, Barney looking for a rot stopper.
32.
He can't find it. And now Adrian Lewis can produce the finishing
Game shot
touch.
and the match.
And he lands
Adrian
double 16
Lewis.
to end his title drought. An 8-3 win against two legends, between two legends of this sport, that final. Raymond van Barneveld back in a final for the first time in some time.